Look, I don't usually do this. I'm not the type to pour my heart out to strangers online, but lately, the silence in my house has been unbearable. And it's not just quiet, it's hollow. The kind of emptiness that makes you hear your own thoughts louder than you want to. I need to say this out loud to someone, anyone, because I think I've finally started to realize the truth. I messed up. Badly. And I don't know if I can ever really fix it. My name's Natalie. I'm 39 now. And the story I'm about to tell you isn't some dramatic Lifetime movie. It's just my life. And how I went from having a good man, a stable home, and a life people envied, to sitting alone every night with nothing but my own pride to keep me company. I met Brian when I was 24. He was 28, just starting to build something for himself. He wasn't flashy or exciting, not the kind of guy that turned heads when he walked into a room, but he was solid. Kind. The type of man who remembered your coffee order after one date and called when he said he would. At the time, I was working as an assistant at a PR firm, dreaming of bigger things. I wasn't sure if I wanted to climb the corporate ladder or just marry rich and live comfortably. I know that sounds shallow, but I was young, and I knew I had the looks to open doors. I wasn't ashamed of that. Honestly, I thought I was playing the game smart. Brian and I fell into a rhythm faster than I expected. He took care of things. Fixed my car when it broke down. Helped my mom move without being asked. Remembered every birthday, every anniversary, every stupid little detail I ever mentioned. He made me feel safe. Like I didn't have to hustle so hard to prove myself. By 27, I was engaged. By 29, we were married. We bought a modest but cute house in a decent neighborhood. I decorated it like the ones I saw on Pinterest, perfect lighting, white cabinets, cozy throw pillows everywhere. I made sure it looked like a life worth showing off. For a while, I was happy. At least, I think I was. Brian worked long hours as an engineer, but he always came home to me. We had dinner together most nights. We'd watch shows, laugh, make plans. It wasn't wild or passionate or movie-level romantic, but it was comfortable. Safe. And that's where the problem started. I don't know exactly when the restlessness began, but I remember how it felt. Like something in me was shrinking. I'd scroll through Instagram and see couples on yachts in Santorini, girls my age posting stories from rooftop bars in New York, captioning things like living my best life. And I'd be sitting there in my matching pajama set, next to my husband who was snoring by 10 p.m., wondering, is this it? I started fantasizing about a different kind of life. One with more excitement. More attention. More, everything. It didn't help that when I turned 32, I started getting more attention at work. I'd gotten promoted, started dressing sharper, feeling bolder. Men noticed. Younger guys. Wealthier guys. One of them, Jason, was the kind of man who lit up a room. Confident. Charming. Dangerous in that smooth, intoxicating way. He flirted, I flirted back. At first, it was harmless. Just a little ego boost. But eventually, I started spending more time at the office than necessary. Started working late even when I didn't have to. I told myself it was just fun, just a distraction, just something to remind me that I still had options. The affair wasn't emotional, at least not at first. It was like stepping into a different version of myself. The Natalie who didn't have to fold laundry or meal prep. The Natalie who got texts at midnight saying, "Can't stop thinking about you," instead of, "Can you grab eggs on the way home?" But as time went on, I started resenting Brian for not being that guy. For being stable. Predictable. Kind. Can you believe that? I resented him for being kind. It wasn't until Brian found a receipt for a hotel room that everything fell apart. I was careless. Maybe I wanted to get caught. Maybe I was testing if he'd fight for me. I don't even know anymore. When he asked me about it, he didn't yell. Didn't rage or throw things. He just looked at me with this hollow expression. Like he was watching something in him die. I confessed. Not because I was brave, but because I didn't have the energy to lie anymore. I told him I'd been unhappy. That I needed something more. That I felt like I'd lost myself in our routine. I expected him to beg me to stay or ask what he could do to fix it. But he didn't. He just nodded, stood up, and said, "Okay. I'll move out by the end of the week." And that was it. No screaming match. No grand gestures. No desperate pleas. Just silence. The kind that echoes for days. The divorce was clean. Too clean. No custody battles, we didn't have kids. No major financial drama. We split everything evenly. I kept the house. He took the car. I thought I'd feel free. Empowered. Instead, I felt nothing. The first few months were a blur of happy hours, weekend trips with girlfriends, and new clothes. I told everyone I was thriving. Reinventing myself. I posted smiling selfies, new haircuts, fancy cocktails. But when the noise died down, when the invitations stopped coming as often, I realized something terrifying. I was alone. Not just single. Alone. There's a difference. The dating world I thought I'd thrive in? Brutal. I'd go on dates with men who talked about themselves the entire time. Or guys who made me split the bill even though they drove up in a Tesla. Or men who wanted to hang out but had no idea how to build anything real. I missed Brian. Not in the "I want to get back together" way. But in the way you miss your childhood home. You remember the warmth, the smell, the little moments you never appreciated until they were gone. Brian was dating someone new within a year. A nurse. Soft-spoken. Kind eyes. I saw her once at the grocery store. She had no makeup on, wearing scrubs, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, and she glowed. The way Brian looked at her, it broke me. I don't think he ever looked at me like that. Or maybe he did, and I just never noticed. They got married last summer. A quiet ceremony. Colleagues and family only. I saw pictures on Facebook. I wasn't invited, obviously. But seeing him in that suit, smiling like he'd finally found peace, it hurt more than I expected. Now, every time I come home, I feel the weight of what I lost. The silence isn't peaceful, it's punishing. The wine doesn't taste as sweet. The clothes I used to love hang in my closet, unworn. I used to be the kind of woman who turned heads. Now I'm the woman people look past. The irony is, I left a good man looking for more. But I never defined what more even meant. Excitement? Status? Passion? None of it lasted. Jason? The guy I cheated with? He ghosted me a month after the divorce was finalized. Said I was too intense. Told people I had baggage. As if he wasn't part of it. Sometimes I scroll through Brian's wife's Instagram. She posts pictures of them hiking, baking, painting the nursery. She's pregnant now. I see Brian's hand resting on her belly and it hits me like a freight train. I gave that up. I gave him up. For what? I'm not bitter. Not angry. I don't even hate him. I think I just hate myself for realizing too late that the life I had wasn't something to escape from, it was something to build on. I didn't lose Brian because I cheated. I lost him because I stopped seeing him. Stopped valuing him. Stopped choosing him. And now? Now I get to sit in this house I once decorated with love and watch the paint peel off the walls. I get to light candles and pretend the scent of vanilla and cinnamon can cover the smell of regret. I'm 39. And for the first time in my life, I don't know what comes next. But I know one thing. If you're reading this and you're wondering whether the grass is greener somewhere else, just remember. Grass only stays green if you water it. And I didn't. I let it die. And now all I have left are memories, and a garden I no longer know how to grow. The nights were always the hardest. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, willing my mind to go quiet. But it never did. It ran in circles, dragging me through the same memories again and again. The sound of his car pulling into the driveway. His hand brushing mine as we passed in the hallway. His tired eyes softening when they met mine, even after a long day. Now the silence was so thick it felt like I was choking on it. I tried to distract myself, to keep moving. I took up yoga. Went on walks. I joined a book club, something I used to tease other women about. I told myself it was about healing, growth, self-care. But it wasn't. It was a performance. I laughed at all the right moments, underlined passages about transformation and resilience, but my heart wasn't in it. I was just trying to stay busy enough not to drown in the guilt. Sometimes I thought about calling him. Just to hear his voice. Just to say something. But what? Sorry? I already said that. That I miss him? I do, but it wouldn't change anything. That I'd take it all back if I could? But that would be a lie. Because even now, in the middle of all this pain, I can't say I didn't want what I had with Daniel. I wanted to feel alive. I wanted to be wanted. I wanted someone to look at me like I was more than a tired woman in a dead marriage. I wanted passion and chaos and heat and risk, and I got it. And then it destroyed me. And maybe that's the part that hurts most, that I chose this. I invited it in. And now I have to live with it. The women from the book club liked me. They said I had a good sense of humor. That I was relatable. You should date again, one of them said, sipping her wine. You're too young and too pretty to be sitting alone in that house. I laughed because I was supposed to, but I wanted to scream. They didn't know me. Not really. They didn't know that I'd thrown away a man who once held my hair when I was sick, who knew how I took my coffee before I even knew I needed it. They didn't know that I had a daughter who wouldn't look me in the eye anymore. That my husband used to read poetry to me in the bathtub and now probably couldn't hear my name without feeling disgust. But I let them think what they wanted. It was easier that way. Eventually, I did go on a date. A guy named Tyler. He was nice enough. Divorced, 2 kids, a gym teacher. He told me I had a great smile. We talked about movies and traffic and our kids. I nodded in all the right places, smiled when he joked about dating in your 40s. He reached across the table and touched my hand, and for a second I felt nothing. Just a hollow space where something used to live. After dinner, he kissed me goodnight. His lips were soft and unsure. I went home and cried for an hour. I started dreaming about my husband again. In the dreams, we were always younger. I was barefoot in the kitchen, making breakfast. He'd sneak up behind me, wrap his arms around my waist, and kiss the back of my neck. I'd giggle, pretend to be annoyed, and he'd whisper, "You know I love you, right?" And in the dream, I always nodded. I always said it back. Then I'd wake up to the cold side of the bed and a crushing weight in my chest. Sometimes I'd get up and stand in the kitchen, just like in the dream. The light would hit the counter the same way it used to in the mornings. I'd imagine him walking in, still half asleep, hair messy, eyes soft. I'd imagine what I'd say if I had the chance again. How I'd touch his face and say, "I forgot how good we had it." I let the noise in. I let the world tell me we weren't enough. I was wrong. But he never walked in. And I'd just stand there until the sun rose, a ghost in my own life. One day, I bumped into him. At the grocery store, of all places. I was reaching for a box of cereal when I saw him turning into the aisle. I froze. He didn't see me at first, but then our eyes met. For a second, everything went still. Like the universe hit pause. He looked good. Healthier. Happier, even. He had a new coat on. one I'd never seen before. His beard was a little longer, his face a little more lined. But his eyes, God, those eyes, still held that quiet intensity that always made me feel like I was being seen, not just looked at. "Natalie," he said, quietly. "Hey," I whispered. We stood there awkwardly for a moment. Strangers with too much history. "How are you?" I asked, stupidly. He nodded. "I'm okay." And that was it. No anger. No bitterness. Just a calm, distant kindness that gutted me. "I'm glad," I said. "You look, well." He gave me a small smile, polite and guarded. "Thanks." Then he turned and walked away. I stood there staring at the box of cereal, my hands shaking. People passed by me, carts rattling, kids whining, music playing overhead. But I didn't move. I couldn't. Because for the first time I knew for certain he wasn't coming back. Not ever. Later that night, I opened the closet and pulled out an old photo album. I flipped through page after page, birthdays, vacations, lazy Sunday mornings. Him holding our daughter in the hospital, both of them asleep. Me in a sun hat, laughing on a boat. Him making pancakes in the kitchen with flour on his nose. I studied my own face. The way I used to look at him. The way he used to look at me. When did we lose that? There wasn't a moment, I realized. No sharp turn. Just erosion. Slow, silent, deadly. We got busy. We got tired. We got comfortable. And in that comfort, I stopped seeing him. And then someone else saw me, and I let them. I used to tell myself it was because I was lonely. Starved for attention. But the truth? I wanted to be selfish. I wanted to feel like the center of someone's world again. And I thought I could have that without breaking anything. I was wrong. A few months later, my daughter agreed to have lunch with me. We sat at a quiet little cafe downtown. She looked older, more guarded. She fiddled with her phone a lot. I didn't blame her. "How's school?" I asked. "Fine," she said. A pause. "I saw your dad the other day," I offered. "He seems good." She nodded, eyes still on her plate. "I just wanted to say. I know I hurt both of you. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I'm trying. I'm trying every day to be better." She looked up then. And for a second, I saw it. That little girl who used to cling to my leg at preschool drop-off. Who used to draw pictures of our family in crayon and tape them to the fridge. "You should have tried before," she said. "I know." Another pause. Then she sighed. "Maybe one day." I nodded, fighting tears. "That's all I can hope for." I go to therapy now. Once a week. I sit on a couch and unpack all the ugly pieces of myself. I talk about the affair, the lies, the grief. I talk about the marriage I abandoned and the life I can't get back. I talk about who I used to be and who I'm afraid I'll never become. Some days I leave feeling lighter. Other days, I cry in my car for 20 minutes before I can drive home. But I keep going. Because healing, I'm learning, isn't a straight line. It's messy and slow and full of setbacks. And the only way out is through. Sometimes, I still wear my wedding ring. Not because I think he'll come back. But because it reminds me of who I was when I still believed in forever. Of the promises I made. Of the woman I betrayed, not just him, but me. And maybe, someday, I'll be able to take it off and not feel like I'm losing another piece of myself. But for now, I wear it like armor. A quiet apology I carry with me every day.